This is Randy from BibleBuyingGuide.com. In this Ask a Bible Buying Guide, Sophie says, I'm going to buy a Keyword Study Bible and have several questions. And here's what she asks. The New King James Version has 4 more pages than the NASB and the ESV versions. Why such a difference, and which version would be better if there are any differences in the content other than the translation? Also, what are the differences between the AMG Keyword Study Bible and the New King James Keyword Study Bible published by Thomas Nelson? If you had to choose between these two, which one would you suggest? I have learned Biblical Greek, but not yet Hebrew. Okay, well, I don't have the NASB or the ESV versions of the Keyword Study Bible, so I'm not able to answer that question. But I can do a comparison of the Word Study Bible that she's asking about of Thomas Nelson. Now, mine is the King James, not the New King James, but the content should be the same. So let's take a quick look at the content for both Bibles. Now, this one, of course, has 1,700 keywords that unlock the meaning of the Bible. And let's see if we can get in there. If I can turn pages. Talks a little bit about what the Bible is, and then it just jumps right in. So we have a book introduction, just a short book introduction with just a little bit of information and some outline in the introduction with watchwords, and then it gets into the text. And now when it gets into the text, it shows an underlined word. And this underlined word means that there is a word study for that word. Okay, so here is our word study for that word. And then here are other word studies that are also on this page. So we have created, and here's create with its word study. And then it gives you the Hebrew. It gives you other references where this word is used. It gives you the Strong's number. And then it gives you the definition and just a short little write-up about it. And then these words are here, and then it tells you where to find them. So if I was going to read out loud, I would prefer to read out loud on this one than that one. You'll see why in just a few minutes. It's a decent sized text, probably about a 9 to 10 point font, good quality paper. Lots of word studies. They're everywhere. Lots of good word studies. I like the section headings. Lots of good little section headings. And let's see what else we got here. We have the same word studies all through. Same format. It follows the same format all the way through. So 1,700 word studies. Lots of word studies. Red letter. That's a nice red. I like that red. It's a really nice red. Let's see. Keep on going. Then in the back. Now this doesn't have articles and that sort of thing. Just word studies. So we get back here. Now we have the English word index. So there's the words in English with the verse number and the reference for it, and the Hebrew or Greek Strong's number and the word in Greek or Hebrew. So English word index. Let's see what else we have. Scripture passage index. So this shows us the scripture passage with the word that's given at that scripture. And now we have the Hebrew. Lots of indexes in the back. Strong's Hebrew number index. So if you know the word in the Strong's number for the word, you can go to this index, look up the Strong's number, see what the word itself is, see where the word is used, where the definition is given, and then the English equivalent. And then we have the same for Greek. And then we have our concordance. Pretty decent concordance. Just for reference. Let's see how many references for God that it has. So God starts here. And it gives you the rest of this page. And then just a little bit more here, and then Godhead, godliness, godly. So not bad. That's pretty decent concordance. It's not exhaustive, of course, nothing like that, but it's a decent concordance for basic study. And then in the back, we have the Thomas Nelson maps. These are actually Zondervan maps. They're on the thick, glossy paper. I prefer the thick, glossy paper to the Bible paper for maps. This is its own binding. So for our maps, we have World of the Patriarchs, Exodus and Conquest of Canaan, Land of the 12 Tribes, Kingdom of David and Solomon, Jesus' ministry. And it gives you scriptures and it gives you the events where they took place. Elevation. It's pretty interesting. I love the colors in these. Dates. So we have Paul's missionary journeys and Jerusalem in the time of Jesus. So the strength of this one is that it has a clear text for the most part. It does have underlining. That's it, really. So if you're trying to read out loud, you wouldn't have any problems in here. There's nothing to stumble on. And it does call your attention, so if you are looking for a word, you're come across this one, you know that you can look that reference up real quick if you need to, if you want to give some information on that. This is good for teaching, I think. I can preach from this one. I've preached from it, no trouble at all. The apparatus of this doesn't get in the way. I think that's a good Bible for study. But it does, it does handle 1,700 keywords, and these are good keywords. I think they're handled well. They are simple. So it doesn't go into a lot of detail about the words. But for the most part, I think they're good enough. And I think it's good for good, solid, basic study. I don't know that I would want to use this in college. So if you want something a little bit more detail, then that's where the Hebrew-Greek Keyword Study Bible is going to come in. Now this is a lot larger Bible. Comparing the two here. This one is a lot larger. This is more similar to the size of a wide margin Bible. And this one has a bookmark with the grammatical codes. This one, the Thomas Nelson, doesn't have grammatical codes. But this one does. So this one has a lot more detail. A lot more detail. So here's about how to use it, all the information about it. This has better paper than my King James Study Bible, my King James Keyword Study Bible. My King James version of it has blue paper, and I don't like blue paper at all. For some reason, it just turns me away. But this doesn't have that problem. This is white paper. It looks really nice. So a lot larger introduction for the books. So a lot more information here. And then this one has commentary on the text, whereas this one does not. This one has word studies only. This one you're going to get word studies and you're going to get commentary. So this is more of a study Bible. It's also wide margin so that you can make your own notes. This shows you that there is a text here, commentary. Now let's take a closer look at what we have here. Okay, so this one underlines and then gives you a number. And then it has all these little codes and keys and things in here. So this one has a lot more information about the text itself. All of these are words that you can find in the back. And if they're bold, then they have a lot more detail. If they're not bold, then they have the basics. So this goes into a lot more detail in the definitions. And you can also find out more information about them as far as parts of speech and that kind of thing. So this one is the one that you want if you want to really get more detailed into the word studies. This is the one that I would recommend. And this is also as a reference edition, which the Thomas Nelson is not a reference edition. Now, if I'm going to try to teach from one, I don't want to teach from this. I tried it one time. I'll never try it again. It was painful. It wasn't pretty. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend teaching from this. Now, I'm sure some people do. I'm sure some people can. That's beyond my skill set. I'm just not even good at that. So this is also red letter. Now, this is a smaller text than the other. I'll show you a comparison. Well, look at there. There's John. So there's a comparison of the text. Comparison of the red. This one has a little bit darker red, but they're very similar in their shade. This is a lot larger print. That maybe is an 8. This might be a 9 to 10 in that range. I'm just guessing. Just taking a quick guess as I go. But this one looks pretty. I like the look of this one better. But if you're wanting detailed information, this one is the one that you want. So reference edition, commentary, lots of word studies, tons of word studies. So let's get back here into the back, see what we got. Now, you remember when we looked at the helps in the other one and how much space we had? Here's the Bible, here's the helps in this one. For comparison, let's see here. Here's the Bible, here's the helps. So this one has a lot more study helps in it. And I do mean a lot. Let's measures. Grammatical notations. So here is how to use all the grammatical notations that it shows you. Genitive, case, and perfect tense, and on and on and on. Scripture index. Let's see what we got here. Scripture index. And concordance. I like this paper too. This is easy paper to handle. No shine, no glare. It's really nice paper. I mean, it could be more opaque, but the Thomas Nelson is more opaque. This is more opaque paper, but this is thinner paper, and it needs to be because it's so it has a lot more information in it. But we have a concordance, really good size concordance actually. Let's see how many words entries we have for God for comparison. If I can remember my alphabet. Still haven't learned that too well. Working on it. So we have God. So we have all of these. Now this gives you a little bit of other things to look for. So suggest some other things. Manifestations, nature of God, attributes of God. So it goes into a lot more detail in the concordance itself. God the Father, Goddess, Godhead, godliness, godly, gods. Overall, the number of references might be similar. Well, this does have more. This has 2 columns, 2.5 columns in that range, whereas that one had about a column. So it does have more, and this does break it down a little bit more detailed, I think. I don't think this has anywhere near as much as a reference edition like the Thompson or anything like that, but it's still a pretty decent concordance. And this is in wide margin also, so you, at least on the outside, so you can make notes if you want to. Now, instead of having the word studies on the pages, it does deal with some things. You'll find some notes that deal with some things. Well, I can't find notes now. But you'll find some notes that do deal with a few things. And it does give a little bit of information here, but the words themselves are handled back here. And this is the Strong's dictionaries for Greek and Hebrew. So that's what we've got right there, the Strong's dictionaries. So here is the Hebrew with how to use it with the symbols and transliteration of Hebrew constants, Hebrew vowels, and then we get into our word studies. Now this has more than the 1700 there, because this has 871 in the Old Testament, and we'll see how many we have in the New Testament in a minute. And it handles them in more detail. Some are simple, some are just a simple thing, just a simple word or two, very simple, but it has all of them. It has all of the Strong's, Hebrew and Greek. So if you're wanting to study the original languages, this is a great choice. I only have one complaint about the way this works, and that is it doesn't give you every word here. So you don't have access to what the Greek or the Hebrew is for every single word. But if you know what the number is, then you can find the definition back here. But you don't know what the number is on every single word. But it does have the major words, and it does have a lot of them, and it does really well. So we have the Greek. That one page is eluding me. We have Greek with transliteration of the Greek alphabet. Transliteration continued. Let's see. Breathing marks. It's really important for Greek. So consonants, vowels, special symbols, notices, and then we get into our definitions. And it's just a Strong's number, you know, so it's going to, well, let's go back. I did not read you the thing I was going to read you. We had 871 of Old Testament and 895 of the New Testament. So they both are about the same number of words, actually. But this one goes into more detail than that one does. Like you'll see, like here's this word, agapo. And you'll see a lot more information about it than what you're going to find in that one. But that one's good enough for basic study. No doubt about that. I can preach from this. No problem with that. But this one, if you want to really get into some scholarly study, this has a lot more in it. A lot more detail for the words. And let's see what we got here in the very back. Now, as far as the question of why the page numbers, why this has more page numbers, it could be the text itself larger. It could be, I'm not sure. I don't know if they have, I don't think they have less information. I don't think that's the case. I think more than anything is the arrangement of the pages and possibly and there's a few pages for notes. Possibly the font size or something like that might be different. And that could be for the dictionary and for the text itself, but that's just a guess. But I don't think this has more information than the others. I think they're all pretty standard as far as that goes. Lots of pages here for notes. That's really good. No index. The AMG maps, which are pretty good maps. I like them. I like these colors. I like them a lot. Let's see, we got World of the Patriarchs, 12 Tribes, Kingdoms of David and Solomon, the Kingdoms of Israel and Judah, Assyrian Empire, Israel in the time of Jesus, New Testament Jerusalem, and Paul's missionary journeys. So it has some dates. Of course, you're going to have cities and that sort of thing. A little bit of topographical information there. Doesn't give you the elevations like this one does. These are from MapQuest. These are really good maps. Not bad. That's not its strength. Its strength is the original words. And I think this might even have a better concordance, but still, that's not the strength of this Bible. The strength of this Bible is this dictionary, which even is also in wide margin, and then just the amount of words that are handled. Now, it does have some theology in here, so that's something to be aware of. Use it for study, use it for reference. It has larger book introductions, and it has references. So this is a more complete all-around study Bible with a focus on Hebrew and Greek words. And I like it. It's one of my favorite study Bibles. I like it a lot. But if you just want some good basic information, go with this one. If you want to teach from it, go with this one. If you're looking for serious study, go for this one. And I hope that answers all your questions. If you have any more questions, just let me know. Thanks.